Hey Kristin, it's Mark. It's really great to work with you again. It's been a long road in this program, but I think we're starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel, so that's nice. But so what I was thinking was I would just kind of give some feedback on both your site and your mid-unit survey. You looked at my site, so I feel as though I should do the same. Plus, after looking through it, I really wanted to give you some good feedback because I think it looks really great. So first and foremost, with your site, I like how you've laid it out. I think it's really clean. I think it is easy to navigate. It's tough for me to think about how third graders would navigate through these things after teaching sixth grade for nearly 12 years now. But I like on the first page here, the home page, you have the unit goals. I love these site icons. I think it's really easy to identify, and they're bright. I don't feel like your students will ever miss those throughout the site. And then I also really love how you did the sound buttons. I'm not sure if you have a student or students that either are low on reading or maybe visually they need the audio, but either way it's something that I guess I never really think about, but I think it's really great and well done, and it could help the students read along as they can hear you. So I guess if they have audio options on other things, why not have it like on a teacher created site? So I think that's a really great idea. And then lastly, right here on your homepage as well, I like how you've incorporated a lot of different Padlets. I'm actually wondering if you subscribe to Padlet, just because you do have a lot, and it seems like maybe you're at your limit or over your limit. I actually ended up using my school email and one of my personal emails to create enough Padlets for my unit. But either way, I like how you have those embedded right in. That's something I also don't think about. I usually just have a hyperlink, but I think it looks nice embedded right in too. But your navigation is nice up at the top. I think for third grade, I think that it's probably pretty easy for them to just make sure that it's all in one spot. I've created sites where I have it. I usually do the little like drop down navigation, but I've also had it like down at the bottom of each page too. And maybe with third graders that might be a little too much, but and this page is great too, because I actually posted a question on your briefing paper about some of the concepts. Some of them seemed like they might be a little much for third grade, but I like how I'm now answering my own question. Looking at your site, that you go into explicit detail about these things, and what a good example of something is, what a good example of something that's not, or a bad, what I'm trying to say. But and then something that really stood out to me was when you were talking about communication, both face to face and online, my first reaction in my head was, well, online is like a whole different ball game, all in itself. But I like how you've addressed that the internet can be pretty gruesome. I was actually, had I not seen something like this, I would have maybe suggested like some netiquette type videos and how people should respond on the internet and that type of thing. But you've I feel like done a really good job addressing sort of the evils, if you will, that can be out there. So I think you did a great job on that. And then this persuasive contract is awesome. Just kind of getting the kids to go to like one standard and everyone sticks to that, and I think that's a great idea. So but really, just I think the navigating piece again is awesome. I like how you've grouped your lessons based on the day. Maybe you saved video games for Friday on purpose as something I look forward to. But and then I also like what you did here with the groups. I think this is really smart. Having these topics broken down, but with the groups and note taking, and I think having it. This is really for the people that are in this group. This is kind of like your page type thing. But then ultimately at the end, I'm assuming that all of their stuff will end up showing up on here, so it'll be kind of a one-stop shop by clicking on this drop down. But and then one thing that I really loved about your ideas is picking a thesis and then eventually like going against that thesis. I thought that was really clever. I think it's smart. I mean, communication is seeing things from different perspectives. It's not always your first thought, and so I love what you did with the unit. I think it's or the website. I think it's the unit too, but the website looks fantastic. I think it's really well done. I think the kids are going to really enjoy it. And again, I think it's easy for them to navigate. I think it's easy for them to understand what their expectations are, what they need to look at. You have great visuals. Your font is outstanding. That's actually something I've already received feedback on from my students is font. So that's something that going forward I'm going to change and really keep in mind as I address new units in the future. But you have relevant things that students can relate to. So again, I think you did a great job designing this site. And then on to your mid-unit survey. So first and foremost, I've done Google Forms, but I guess I've never really realized that you can make a Google form kind of like how we take surveys with the county, where it shows the progress bar. I mean, I always see that as an option, I guess, but maybe it's because my forms don't necessarily need to be laid out in multiple things. Maybe that's why I never even consider it. But after having looked through yours, I think this is great that you broke it down into 3 parts. You clearly identify what those 3 parts are. You're letting the students know that they should answer honestly. And if you really hit home with them that this is anonymous, that you're not really tracking who says what, then I think that'll really promote that they are honest on the survey. So I like how your statements are I can statements, or I am statements type of thing. One thing I had a question on is so 1 is disagree, 2 it doesn't seem that clear to me, but maybe it's kind of like I don't either disagree or agree, because agree is 3 obviously. So I'm guessing 2 might be just kind of like, well, I don't really disagree, but I also don't agree either. So, that's just a question I had. Maybe you'll address that with your students ahead of time. I can't remember if when creating Google Forms, if you can give like a label to each and everything. That might look a little cumbersome, but that was just a question I had. So nothing major, but and then again, going into a different section, I like that. I like how this is all focused on the team participation. So really, it kind of gives feedback on the team without getting into too much detail. So I think that's good. And then one thing that was brought to my attention, and I tried to address it as best I could, is maybe when you are asking students like, I'm enjoying this unit, maybe like if there's a way for them to explain like what specifically they like, list, am I enjoying the group aspect of this, I'm enjoying the coming up with thesis statements or going against the thesis. I don't know. If there's a way to maybe do that without it being like too much work, that might be really good for you to like really narrow down what specifically students are liking, what they're not liking, and plus this can give you like a good amount of data for future use. Like, oh, last year a lot of my kids really hated the the thesis about dogs. I don't know who hates dogs, but I think you get the idea. So that's just something I thought of going through, and then I think it's always good to allow students to give like just kind of like like informal feedback about how something's going. Especially again if it's anonymous, then I think there will be more buy-in with that. So if there's something they really love, if they're not really getting along well in their group, anything like that, I think this is a good kind of private space for them to do that. So all in all, I think the mid-unit survey is pretty good. I think the anonymous factor will promote a lot of buy-in. So yeah, I think you have yourself a really nice looking unit, and I think you're going to enjoy it. I think the students are going to enjoy it. And I look forward to hearing how it's going once you start implementing. All right, bye.